Okay, are we up here? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Looks like we're okay. William's here first. Good morning, good morning. You can see what we're doing here today, back at the carving bench. It's going to be comparing back and forth. The first test printings are done on the first print of next year's series. And this morning my job is to have a look at their first test sheets, compare them with Jed's original here, and make whatever adjustments we need to make. There's going to be quite a few of them, quite a few adjustments, I think. Which block is this? This is the yellow block, I think. Make sure I don't get confused here. This is the yellow block. There's going to be a lot of back and forth here today, checking these two things together. Glasses on, glasses off. Okay, who's here this morning? Morning, gang. Scratching at the screen. Get your cat watching, see if he can help. This is a new style that we've done this year, that Jed's doing this year, with all the lines. The colors are not fitting in the lines, intentionally. The original idea was to make things easier and simpler, kind of a bang bang, blow it out the door print, but they're much, much more difficult actually. Cutting to the lines is what we can do easily. When the lines are not clear and the areas are not clear, it's much more difficult to get it right. This might have been a mistake, but whatever. Once the blocks are done, the printing should go very smoothly, very quickly. But it sure is a lot of fussing around getting the blocks ready. There's a question in the inbox I missed from, excuse me, question in the box I missed from last night from William. You're here this morning, right? From William, and he's asking about the size of the Ukiyo-e Heroes prints. I know, I'm not sure what everybody knows or doesn't know. I know we've been making Ukiyo-e Heroes prints now for 5-6 years, I guess. And from the beginning, we've kept them in a sort of standard size. There's not really any specific reason for this, except that they're a series, so it makes sense to make them sensibly all the same size. And as time goes on, when you think about things like packaging and stuff, it makes sense to have them in the same size. And now that we're making a book of the things, binding them together in a book, of course, being the same size is really important. Anyway, for the first time now, it's not just this workshop. William here on the stream is also now making another print in this same, and that's not the same series, but he's doing that one punch design for Jed, and it makes sense to keep them at the same size, I guess. So I've got an email in my box from William asking, before he starts carving and get going, he'd like to confirm what the dimensions of the prints are. And this is really interesting. William himself probably knows what my answer is going to be here. All the time when we make these prints, the dimensions of the hanshita, the tracing that we start with, is different, turns out to be different from the finished print that ends up. So if I give William the size of a finished print, and he's probably actually already got some prints there to compare, if he makes his tracing the same size as the finished print, it's not going to work. His finished print will end up being smaller. Keep track of what I'm doing here. Where am I? Bottom second curve, bottom second curve. And it's because of the way the paper works. If you imagine a tracing, whatever, it's something that's going to be a print that's going to be, whatever, 20 by 10, just make up some numbers, it doesn't matter. It's going to be 20 tall, 10 wide, if that was the borderlines of the finished print. If that was the borderlines of the tracing you prepare, 20 by 10. You paste it on a block, it's still 20 by 10. You carve your wood, it's 20 by 10, no problem. Then you get your finished print, you start working on it. You finish blocks and you start working on it. You cut your paper, and then you moisten your paper, and the paper expands under the moisture. It gets larger. And you print it on your 20 by 10 blocks. And at that moment, while the paper is still wet and you do your colors and you keep going, everything is still 20 by 10. Then when you're all done, you dry your paper, and whoops, the print is no longer 20 by 10. It's now whatever, 19.5 by 9.5 or something. It's smaller because the paper shrinks. So if you want a print that's going to be 20 by 10, you have to scale things up at the front end of the manufacturing process. You have to make the design larger. So in William's case now, he's going to make prints. He wants to make prints targeting them at the same size that we've finished already. So he's going to have to make sure he scales his drawing up a certain percentage to match. The next question comes, what is that percentage? And I got to say, I don't know, because it all depends on the kind of paper you're using. This is where things get tricky. The paper we're using so far from Iwano-san, the Living National Treasure Echizen Hosho paper, expands in one direction along the grain and doesn't expand in the other direction along the grain. So we get expansion only in one dimension, one direction. And what kind of paper William will be using to make his edition may be different. So William, you're listening here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the same Photoshop file that we use as a master copy when we're preparing all of our tracings. Jed's stuff, he sends me things over the years at all different resolutions, all different sizes, depending on however he set up some specific Photoshop file. Sometimes they're 300 DPI, sometimes they're 350, sometimes they're 600. You know, he hasn't been consistent. He just, you know, that's not his job to worry about things like that. So what we have done over the years, making all the Heroes prints, is we've kept one single master file for printing out the Hansta copies, the tracings. And whenever I get a new Photoshop file from Jed, I import the key lines into that file. And it's already got the registration marks on it. It's already got the border lines on it. It's got everything on it. And I just import his key lines into that file. And that's been the master for the whole thing all over the years. So I'll send you, when I get off this morning, when I finish this morning, I'll send you a copy of that file. I'll rip all the old stuff out so there's nothing left but the border lines and registration and stuff like that. And it would make sense then for you to put your one-punch line data into that file, print it out at the same dimensions and the same resolution, just following what we've been doing for 5 years. And then you have a pretty good chance of having your finished print match the rest of them in this series. Okay. Just got to come way down. Where am I here? I'm talking without watching the stream here. I don't know about what answers and what comments about this are there. The last couple of streams upstairs while I'm printing, it's been fun. I've been able to watch the stream, you know, looking up every few sheets. But back at the carving bench, you know, I can't see anything about the stream, what you guys are talking about. So you're probably yelling, the microphone's off or something. Let's have a look. Seems okay, right? Things are working along. People are quiet. That's okay. Can come back a lot. Where am I? Here. One bump, second bump, top of the second bump. Don't know where I am. Foot, one bump, second bump. Foot, one bump, second bump. That's not even there. It's hard to figure out where you are. Wicked sharp knife this morning. I broke it yesterday when I was doing something. I was doing a quick repair. I was really sloppy and working too fast, and I snapped it off. Another order, more owls, I suppose. They're not stopping, and we're right at the post office deadline now, so a lot of people are not panicking, whatever, but they are getting in there. Those owls that I made yesterday, they're in the shipping services truck now. They'll be delivered to the Ome warehouse this morning at about 10 o'clock. Packed and on their way. They'll be out and around the world later this afternoon. That's so much fun to do it that way, you know. Sometimes we make prints, whatever, they sit on the shelves, whatever, for a very long time. You know, we might make 100 prints, and over a period of years, that particular print will sell. And what's happening this month is, of course, very different, you know. It's great fun sending out fresh prints. They're almost raw. Okay, I think this yellow block pretty much matches. Let's switch to another one. Next up, the skin tone block. Lots of conversations going on without me, that's fine. Okay, this is the skin tone block, which prints on top of two things. It prints on top of that yellow, and it prints on top of the brown. Don't know if nobody's had a chance to see this yet. This is the first test print, one of the first test prints. This is on you see here in the corner, Ishikawa-san was printing upstairs on Saturday morning, and this is some of the first test prints. This is not the finished print as we're going to see it. We still haven't got a good balance between the skin tone and the yellow, and the brown might be a bit too light. But here we are, and this print is going to have great embossing. I don't know if you can see it here in the, where am I, up? The gray tones and stuff. We've got good, thick, rich paper we're using for this. So everything embosses really quite deeply into it. You know, people ask us about embossing blocks, and every block we do actually is an embossing block. Every single block we do is an embossing block. You know, sometimes when you don't put pigment in it, you get just straight embossing, but everything embosses. And this year's series, we're not going to do full backgrounds. We're going to keep white paper. So this year's series is going to have great, great, rich texture. Look at this everywhere. I mean, I've got it on a really sharp angled light, so it's really a bit too bumpy. And we've got here for me, all the classical things that make a woodblock print perfect. We've got the beautiful paper where am I? The beautiful paper texture, which you can see and just touch and feel. We've got nice line work. I know it's not nice line work, but it's real line work. It's just brush strokes. You can see Jed's brush just dancing on this paper. You know, you can't believe it actually wasn't drawn right on the paper. Then we've got this good, rich texture effect. I tell you, this series is going to be so much fun this year. You know, so much fun. We haven't got the text in the bottom yet. That'll be done printed separately. We're not going to carve in all those little letters. We're going to print that separately. So here's what it's going to look like. And my job today is to make the last adjustments here to get it all working. Anyway, enough talk. Dave, get going. Not sure what I'm doing here. I don't know why she wrote that. Apron kore. What is she trying to say? There's something. She was chatting with me about different stuff, and I don't know. She mentioned she'd put a note on to remind me, but I don't remember what she said. So it's something about the apron. Kore ne. Here on the apron, there's something, but I don't remember what it was. Whatever. In a minute, when I get back to comparing with that one. So you're reading all our notes, are you? Let's pull the skin tone back from the edges a bit more. We've got it a bit too close to the edges here, so it's difficult though, you know. Pull it back too far, it looks funny. This is so much more difficult than our normal carving. And also, something else I was supposed to show you, before I forget actually, those of you who were here, it must be a couple of weeks ago, when I was carving the key block, I showed the first proofing of the key block, and I had banged one of the, where is it? I had banged one of the places and it had knocked out, it was on here, it had knocked out a piece of one of the little wiggly bits on his thing. So we had a white gap here. I had meant to fix it on stream, but I didn't remember to do that, and the girls needed to get going on printing, so I fixed it. Now if you can see, can we zoom in? We're at the max of zoom, I think, here. This is the place. I don't know if you can see it. This is the place where the gap was. And what I did a real quick and dirty job. I took a drill and just drilled a hole, shoom, straight down into the block. But how wide is it? About a 2 millimeter wide hole in the area where the split was. So just drilled, zoom, straight down. Then I got a piece of cherry wood around. I made a little tiny dowel, like a 2 millimeter wide dowel, popped it in. And that was it. Just carve off. I had then a round circle here, so I carved off the outside, carved off the inside. Trim actually a bit more here, I think, actually, now that I look at it. And the whole repair took like 5 minutes, and I really, really wanted to do it on stream so you guys could see it, but she needed the block, and it wasn't streaming time, so away we went. And that's the same place here. Those of you who saw it earlier, this was the place. Where are we? This was the place that was chipped out. And still a tiny little split. I didn't get it perfect. But nobody ever would notice that there was a piece missing here. Next time, maybe we'll catch it on stream. Sorry. Anyway, back to this endless work of trimming these things. This one's tougher because I can't see it. This is really not good, laying a skin tone over a yellow. Gotta cut back there. Where am I? There's just not enough difference between these two tones. In Photoshop, Jed multiplied them together, but it doesn't work in real life. So. here it's actually out. The skin tone is bumped out. Oh, look at it, there it is. Look at that. When I carved it first, I didn't pop out this piece. It's already carved here, look at this. It's carved, but I didn't pop it out. I think we're okay on this boy. Let's move across. Well, it's interesting today. I'm sorry, all this back and forth and just nibbling, but it's work that I have to do, you know. I'm sorry if it's not, you know, dramatic or interesting or whatever. Pop me an interesting question or two, and we'll see what we can do while I'm doing this. You know. A minute, when we get to the grey block, it's going to be better because I've got to fix all that scratch carving. That's going to be a job. It seems I've broken my rule here. Do the difficult ones first. I should have done the grey first. Seems these are mostly okay. I don't see any major problems. There, a little bit popped out here. Where's that? You know, the hammer, curve of the shoulder. Hammer, curve of the shoulder. Here we are. All right, I think the skin tone's okay. Move on to the grey. The grey's the big one. Here we are. This is going to be playing. Maybe the rest of the time today is going to be taken up on this one. Because, let's have a look here. Twitch is acting up, it says. At my end, it's okay. I've got 0 drop frames. My Wi-Fi shows full power. Were print blocks used for printing in Japan for books or anything? Yes, books. All printing, everything. Books by the tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands of copies of books were all printed by this technique. Whoa, we got lots more scratching to do here. Lots more scratching. I think she munged this pretty hard, but it's going to need lots more scratching. Okay, where do we start? There were tens and tens of thousands of books. I know. Whatever, we should do a video or something about them one day. We've got many of them here. They're so much fun. The text, the pictures were all done together with this same technique. Sometimes in the print parties, there's a break halfway through the print party, we pull some stuff out of the drawers and show people and things. You know, we've got a bunch of old books that we keep in the print party room. And we show them the books and chat about this and that, this and that. And it's hard to get them back to the print plate. They're busy looking at these books and fooling around. All the text was carved. You look at the books and the pictures and the text and everything on them was all carved in wood blocks. Smash, crash, smash, crash. Yeah, movable type. The Japanese tried it. I think that, like somebody said, or the Chinese did it a long, long time ago. The Japanese also tried it. This is back, in the 1600s and into the 1700s. And then again, when the Westerners first started to sneak into Japan, there was a bunch of Jesuits here that came in through, when Japan was still isolated, but there was all these Dejima Island was the sole point of contact and stuff like that. The Jesuits brought with them a printing press. They were going to do Bibles. They were going to translate Bibles into Japanese and do that. And they brought a printing press with their own version of type, and they tried cutting some type for kanji characters and stuff to make these Bibles. And the government of the day, this is when still it was Tokugawa Ieyasu, right back at the beginning of the Tokugawa period. They saw this and did some experiments. And there was a number of books published, and this is right back, this is early 1700s, kind of first decade of the 1700s. I'm not quite sure of this. There were a few books done in a rudimentary version of movable type with kanji and kana characters. Extremely rare today. Just you never see them. They're all museum stuff, And they did these experiments and tried this, and then gave it up. Went back to just cutting the text on wood blocks. The text would be written out with a pen. The piece of paper is pasted on a block and you carve it. And it was really just simply much more efficient than movable type. Remember, you're not talking about just 26 letters. You're talking about many, many thousands of characters, and characters that look different when they're connected to each other in different ways. Blah, blah, blah. We have this in English. We used to do things like the S and the F. They had a different shape when they connected to different letters and stuff. Well, a lot of Japanese calligraphy is like that. A particular character has its own basic shape, but depending on what it's being connected to, it flows into the next one. So you can't have movable type that flows into the next character when you don't know what the next character is going to be. So they tried it and pretty much gave up. And that was that until the modern time, when modern presses came in with the metal type, poured metal type. But those old books are such a treasure. Let's go around the corner here. What's this look like? The wide outside ones are very strong. The inside ones are weaker and weaker and weaker. Let's see what we've got. So our test. The outside ones are okay. The inside ones need to be weaker. In general, they all have to be thinner overall. Get scratching, Dave. Here, get scratching. I shouldn't spend too much time on this. We're trying to replicate Jed's brush strokes, but they're just generic brush strokes. It's not like we're trying to reproduce an older print here. As long as we have it look scratchy, that's enough. But we can get a bit more taste in here. And thinner on these outside ones, even thinner. Years ago, I would have killed to be able to watch a session like this. Can we get a bit closer? I'm not sure. They weren't scratchy enough. They were too fat. Actually, the girls too. The Ishka did her test printing. She pressed a bit too hard. I have to get her back off when she does this next. Shoop, shoop, shoo. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Anybody getting itchy? Oh, let's maybe do a test of this corner here. Muck it up just a bit more. Let's try a test of this corner. See what's going on here? Let's have a look. Is this going to focus or not? Come on, camera. Please do your job. Focus on this stuff. Come on. Come on. It's too close. Come on. How far back do I have to go? Is that focusing? There we go. Somewhere on there? Yeah, we got lots of good scratching. Look at this. It looks just like a brush fading out to nothing. Cool. Woodblock printmaking. If that's all you saw, you'd never believe it was a woodblock print, you know. I think we're on the right track. Let's keep at it. Not the most interesting stream here today, but it's work that has to get done. Sorry. That's one corner. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 corners to go. Next corner. This is the outside. It's above the warrior's head and into the middle. So it's this zone above the warrior's head and in. And this is much lighter. Much lighter. We've got to really cut more away here, I think. Look at this. It's strong, nothing in the middle, and then out at the end I've got strong. So I've got to cut away a bunch of this stuff here in the middle. So. Hear a question, okay. Somebody says anything, talk about anything but scratching. Or a question. Yeah, good question. I gotta say, I'll give you my answer, but other printers have different answers. The question is about washing brushes. One, do we wash after every session? And yes, we wash the brushes, but we try to avoid getting the wood part wet. At least in this workshop here, we try to avoid getting the wood part wet. You hold the brush under the tap so that the water runs into the bristles area and then out and away, not touching the wood. And another factor here is if you've been pressing too hard, then the pigment has pushed all the way up the bristles and it's now into the roots of the hair and up in the wooden part. And that's real trouble, because to wash that out, you've got to really get that wood saturated. So without wanting to say what you're doing is a mistake, the person asking this question has said, how do I get the pigment out of the roots and whatever? I think maybe you're actually pushing the brush down too hard onto the block. The ideal is to use the brush with as light a touch as possible so that the pigment is spread out. And actually, maybe we can see it here. This is the brush I've picked up from the party room. I don't know if this is going to show. This is the black brush from the party room. The hairs here are totally clean. There's no pigment down in the hairs. Is this focusing? I think the camera's cooperating today very well. There's no pigment down in the hairs. There is pigment up at the tip, and there's pigment about this far. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I can see it in the line when I look at the real brush. There's pigment in this part of it, but no pigment in this part of it down here. And if we're not careful, if we let the people in the print party, you can see it there now, right? I don't know if it shows. And right at the tip of my finger is the line. Past my finger there's pigment. Below my finger there's nothing. And if we let the people in the party room, if we let them jam and jam and jam and jam, pigment soon gets right up to the roots of these hairs. But if we're telling them always gently, 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 softly, 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 and most of them do, then the pigment doesn't go much past about halfway. And then under the tap, you run the water onto the brush like this so the water flows away and doesn't get the handle wet. That's your ideal way for the brush. Having said that, this is a brush now that's new. It's less than a month old on the party bench. It's been washed a few times. The wooden part has never, ever, ever seen water, and yet already it's split. Because the bottom, standing on the block and standing on the towel waiting, is moist with pigment. The top is dry because it's winter here in Japan, and the result is bang. Plus the fact that it's a junk, absolute junk brush. That's what we get these days. Look at this. I've got another brush, the brush for black. This brush is Kintaro. He's been dead he died in the late 70s or early 80s, the guy who made this brush, Kintaro. And it hasn't split. It's been washed and done and cleaned and fooled around with a million times. Same thing, it's pigment to about this far. The rest is clear. That's what we used to get, and this is the modern way. We're going to make our own, one day, one day, one day. It couldn't be any worse. We don't know what we're doing, but it couldn't be any worse than what we're buying. So I forget the question actually. What did he say? How do I wash the brushes, or do you wash the brushes? The answer is yes. Try not to get the wood wet. And when you're using the brush, try not to get the pigment too far up the hairs. If the roots are getting saturated with pigment, I think by my standards, you're pressing too hard. Or maybe your brush is too small for the area. You've got a tiny brush in a big area. You're having to splash tons of pigment on it to get it brushed out. Use the biggest brush you can possibly get away with. There was another question. I heard the chunk. Just a minute. Let me try and get a little bit of this done. The brushes are horsehair. Horsehair. What was the question here? Hang on a sec. Oh, a generic question. Get to it in a minute. I know it's there's questions about the hair here. Horsehair. Zoom in. Yeah, I forgot to zoom in. Okay. Height. Is that going to hold the focus? I remember to zoom up, but didn't remember to zoom back in. Thank you. Is it focusing? I think so. The question was a generic one. It was, why am I streaming? Well, actually, there's a few answers to that. The first is because it's sort of our style here to keep our work as open as we can, to show as many people as we can what we're doing. There's no really window into the world of traditional Japanese printmaking for the people in the rest of the world, you know. Normal workshops and stuff, well, there aren't many left now anyway. When I first came here, the workshops and stuff, they weren't specifically secretive. There was just no reason, like why would they show the stuff or why would they talk about it? They're just people doing their work, doing their job. So there was very little information out there, but not because it was in any way, you know, cliquish or secret. But over the years I've been doing this, it's just much more fun to show and talk and explain what we're doing. And it's having a huge benefit now that many people are learning about this and trying it themselves. And that comes back to me. The more people that get going on this, the more strength we will have in the supply chains, you know. But there's a more practical reason for why I'm streaming here. In recent years, since starting this new shop we have in Asakusa, it's been very, very difficult for me to maintain time back at my own benches, my own production. The last couple of years, production for me has fallen off dramatically. I make a list each morning on what to do. You know, I've got actually today's to-do list, you know, getting ready. And it's got a lot of things on it that have to be done today. And before I started streaming, carving would almost always just get knocked to the bottom of the list and not get done. Because, you know, customer orders, that takes priority. Visit from somebody, that takes priority. Getting the prints ready getting blocks ready for printers, that takes priority. Because if I don't do my job, their job is not done. So there's always more stuff that takes priority over my own carving bench. But having it on Twitch now, having this schedule, I got to be here at 8 o'clock. That puts carving to the top of my daily to-do list. And wow, this actually gets done. So over the past few months, my productivity has dramatically gone way up. So sarcastic approach this to say, I don't care about you Twitchers, I'm doing this for me. And you guys are collateral damage, you're a side benefit, you get to watch this, you know. Whatever, you get what I mean, it's all the same thing. You know, by having the appointment here means I actually get here and do this, you know. Because once the doorbell rings, the other people get here, it's all day long people grabbing at my time. I don't know if I've cut too much off this. I don't know. Can't put it back once it's done. I don't know. Anyway, the original said there's almost nothing here, so if I've cut a whole lot of it, it's okay. Now around that corner. What's on the bottom side here? Okay, there's a line, so there's not much in this inside side. It goes to the outside, so we got to cut off some of this stuff here. Let's do it this way. I wonder what happened to Cameron this morning. Another train. Ah, look at this. Here we go, Bing Bong. Speak of the devil. Another train problem. He said that train line's been having real problems recently. All right, show me your train excuse card.
Uh-oh. None today.
None today, so. How was your weekend?
Busy.
Busy? What do you mean, busy?
Yeah, just lots of things going on. Church group activities and things, so.
Getting settled in the new community?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's been good. And Ren had a hard time sleeping last night.
So you mean you did too?
Oh yeah, but that's okay. I'm here. I made it. Can I have a baby excuse slip? Is that what? But glad to be here. Finishing the last one?
Scratching this morning, so spending a whole hour here scratching myself. People on the stream, I think they're watching this and they're all getting itchy.
Yeah. Scratching all these fine details.
Try to get the, here's quick test proof,
Yeah.
It really comes up.
Oh, wow.
It really comes up, scratchy.
They look like
looks like brush
strokes. So, exactly, yeah.
That's the idea. So.
Wow.
That'll work on.
Yeah, I'm sure. Are
That's
they
the first test.
These ones?
So that's each Cosline's first test print. She's pressing way too hard.
Yeah.
You got to use much more delicacy.
Okay.
This is Jen's. I think it's a Photoshop brush, actually. I don't think it's a real brush. I can't tell. But.
Yeah. Oh.
So then I just got to get, just keep scratching.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. And this is the last one?
This is the blocks are ready now.
Yeah.
She's done a proof.
Right.
And they're gonna print today.
Wow. Excellent.
We were so
getting
late.
excited.
This is January's subscription print. It should have been done months ago, But whatever. On your number one list, you got to do the Omi stuff this morning.
Yep.
But then Jushiban, we've got to get the text ordered.
Yes.
For doing the captions on this, and we can't delay another minute. So.
Okay.
So whatever else happens, whatever else I get into, if I'm kissing a customer, whatever, it doesn't matter. Drag me out of there and let's get that.
All right,
that
let's
thing
get
made.
that thing going.
So I'm sorry, not to make it your responsibility,
No,
but let's make it your responsibility.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, let's get that done. Wow, I think it's coming along nicely. The colors look like they added up decently. What are you thinking? I don't know.
Ask me once the stream is over.
Oh, okay.
Ask me what I really think once the stream is over.
Uh-oh. I'll get out of the way then.
And also the computer, the new stuff was supposed to be delivered Sunday.
But it didn't come in?
Well, from Apple, I got the shipping memo a few days ago that said delivery will be made Sunday afternoon.
Right.
So yesterday we get towards Sunday, getting ready to close, and do we need to wait for these guys, whatever? Yeah. So I go to they give me a tracking number. So I go to the tracking page, and I see Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, it's in the Ome delivery center. And I'm like, no way, I think I didn't do that mistake. We have two places, Ome and Asakusa.
Right.
So I went back to the original Apple Store receipt, and it says, Hasso Saki wa Asakusa, Ichino, Yonju Ichino, Hachi, it's supposed to be sent here.
It's supposed to be here.
So somewhere, the Apple or their Chinese fulfillment center or whatever, I have no idea.
They had your old address in their records or something?
Well, it is my address, but the billing address and the shipping address were different, and they shipped it to the billing address. This isn't my screw up. If I had screwed up, I would own up to it, but I didn't. So.
But you checked.
But what happened is, so we see the tracking at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's in the Oma shipping center, and then 6 o'clock in the morning, it's back at Haneda Airport. But so so it started in Haneda Airport, went to somebody must have looked at something and said,
we're going the wrong way.
We're going the wrong way. And it went back to Haneda. So, I would imagine this morning, 10 o'clock, whatever, ping pong, your computer will
the computer will be here.
So. But don't muck with it today. Let's get this other stuff.
Get this done. Okay. But someone noticed the error.
And if I don't think I did, because I went back to the receipt and it clearly says billing address Home, shipping address Asakusa. So what can I say?
Okay.
Let's test this corner.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna get out of the way.
Okay.
And go.
Meet people.
What I can. Yeah.
Oh, somebody said, the bot. There's a bot question. I know. The bot has.
Right. The chat bot.
Question mark. Cameron is now up there.
Oh, great.
He's this guy who always pops up an hour into the stream if his train is not late. That's become your. That's too bad.
That's my auto response.
So at least we're not talking about the rats anymore.
Yeah.
so.
If this train is not late.
Questions. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Cameron. Cameron said hi already. Okay. Good. 8 to 8. And they got the old baby excuse. There you are.
Old baby excuse.
What am I going to say? I can't come back to him. Whatever. I played the other side of it years ago. Now it's my turn to suck it up.
Yeah.
So somebody's asking about fixing the block. I did fix it. I didn't fix it on stream. I'm sorry. You weren't here. I know. We had the broken. Not broken. It was chipped in a little place.
Oh, I didn't.
And I'd forgotten about it, and I was going to fix it on stream. And then what was it? Yesterday morning? No, Friday morning. We went to the lumberyard.
Oh yeah.
And Aimi-san texted me. She sent me an email, and this is like 8:30 in the morning. I got to be at the lumberyard at like 9:15. And she said, "Did you remember to?" And I didn't. So I within like 10 minutes, I just drilled into it, jammed a piece, and clicked it, threw it on her bench, and it's okay. I really wish I could have done it on stream. Anyway, we'll do it next time. There will be lots more chances for repairs, believe me. It came out fine. In fact, you can see right there. The place that was repaired is... Which was it?
Can't even tell.
You can under the microscope. It was this one. There's a little tiny crack there.
Oh, okay.
So people have microscopes can tell where it was. Yeah. Anyway, where are we? 8 and a...
Only customers that are Twitch viewers can
is that what
tell.
I said? Okay, anyway, let me test print here.
Yep, I'll get out of here. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the stream.
Okay, so let's test print quickly this corner we just did. I just stole one of the brushes from the party room, just the black block from the party room, the black brush. It'll give me a touch here. Oops, too black now. Anyway, look at this. We've got, that whole middle section is gone. That's too strong still. This is looking good. We could take a bit more off this, I think. I don't know. Actually, I think maybe it's okay. We are getting a really nice scratch effect here. If the girls, when they're printing, if they can keep a light touch on it, that's going to be the bugbear here. This gray block. It's got this sword area, which Jed has asked us to print, smooth gray. And we've got the scratch. And we're trying to minimize our number of impressions this year. So, of course, putting these on one block, it's the same color. But it means then when they're rubbing their tool, zoom out a bit more, I guess. When they're actually printing this block, they're going to rub light gray pigment over the whole thing. And then they've got to print. And they've got to print very firmly in the middle here on the sword. And then just dance around the outside just to get this scratching. And if it's a bit too light on the scratching, that's not going to hurt anybody. So, but I know what they want to do. Around the outside, always your tool always tends to run into the corners and run into the corners. So almost they're going to be really pressing too hard on these corners. I'm going to have to be screaming at them, no, lighter, lighter, lighter. Keep the pressure in the middle and just dance. In fact, what they might do is they might switch barons. They might use one baron for the middle like this, Then switch to another one and just do something like this. Just hold it and lightly touch on the outside. We'll see. Okay, that's 2 corners roughed up. Let me get back to the next. Where are we now? Remember to zoom in again, Dave. Oops. Have I moved locations? Where should I be? I need to be somewhere on there. Okay, let's get at it. When I retire, will I be no? You get a bonus point. You get a kiss. The only thing is, though, there's no retirement happening, but whatever. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, where are we here? This is what Jed is asking for. Nothing, just generic stuff. So let's just give him some generic stuff. This is okay. This one's not bad, actually. Let's just thin it out a bit more, these grey solid parts. The artist formally. Good one, good one, good one. Kawai-san was here last night printing. You know, he's working double shifting. You know, he's doing the print parties and stuff during the day, and he really wants to be on our printing team. So he's working upstairs in the evenings on printing jobs. You know, we're trying to find a level of work that he's competent for, that he can do. His experience is not so great yet, but we want to do everything we can to encourage it and come along. So he stayed here printing last night, and I was just doing more and more book work. And just at about the time he gave up, I was ready to leave too. So we went for dinner together. And it's winter coming up, and I remembered a place that 3 years ago, when we were doing the renovation of the shop here, just over 3 years ago, the three of us who were doing this job, the renovation job, myself, my son-in-law, and then Aoyama-san, our staff member here, we had a sort of routine. We were really dirty from the renovation work, so we'd go to the public bath, the Sento, and then, you know, head out for dinner together. So we had I was new in Asakusa, so I didn't know too many places, but I found one place that did a really nice nabe dish, you know, hot pot, I guess you call it in English. I don't know, whatever. They bring a little stove to your table with a bowl and then vegetables and whatever stuff you order to be thrown into it. So, and it's fabulous for winter. And I remembered that place, see if it was still open, and we did. We went over there last night, me and Kawai-san, and we had, oh my God, it was so nice. So nice. It's sort of, they've done it in an interesting way to try and maximize their income, I guess. I don't know. Normally you'd get a nabe maybe for one person. Okay, there you are. And then sometimes you get it for a group. You know, they put a bigger stove in the middle of the table and the group orders and whatever. But they've got what is supposedly a single portion. Ichinimai, they call it, for one person. So whatever, so we ordered this. We asked her, is it enough for two? She says, not really, you know. And okay, whatever, so we'll order 2 of them separately. They bring 2 stoves, like little camp stoves. And then she brought the bowls of vegetables, and holy crap, it was enough for 2. But we double ordered, you know. We ate it. We ate it. We sat there and we ate slowly, and we not grilled, we dumped more stuff in there and dumped a bit more in, and I ordered another beer and staggered out of there about 2 hours later. Not staggered as in drunk, staggered as in belly wonderfully full of hot stuff on a cold night. That kind of staggering, you know. It wouldn't surprise me if he's late this morning. So nice. If you're in the area, it's called the New Asahi. Oh no, New Asakusa. Go by New Asahi. The New Asakusa. It's been here for a million years, I guess. It's not all happy. There's a downside to it, and that it's full of old local guys. It's not much on the tourist circuit, but it's full of locals, and as such, it's very smoky, especially upstairs where we got shunted off to yesterday. So you come home with your clothes reeking of smoke, whatever in your lungs, who knows, but it's a good nabe. Japan is making noises now about moving to a no smoking in restaurants, but it's not going to happen in my lifetime, I think. They're going to get something passed, and it'll be applicable to modern cafes and things like that, like Starbucks and whatever. Most of those are already non-smoking, so it doesn't matter. There's no way they're going to get the Asakusa bars and the nightlife bars to go no smoking. It's just not going to happen. So we pick and choose. Most nights I go to a normal cafe, a clean, pleasant place, but every now and then you want the other stuff. I've got to get moving here. There's so much on my list this morning to do. Not to mention the fact that this is going into production today. Ayumi-san and Ishikawa-san are both working on this print today. Then I've got to do a Kickstarter update. I don't know, it won't be a video, it'll be a photograph update. The Kickstarter natives are getting restless. I've been doing really well. The Kickstarter projects are coming along very, very well. There's 6 new prints coming in the Kickstarter campaign that we announced that this was in September. And 3 of the block sets are finished now. Out of those 6 new prints, 3 of the block sets are finished completely. Printing on one of them will be finished by, what's today, Monday? It'll be finished by Wednesday. So the first print will be getting ready for shipping next week. The next 2, the block sets are finished. We'll be doing trial printing, and that'll be a YouTube video. And then the other 3 are not yet in production, but we're way ahead. And then the book, the big book collection of 10 prints inside the book. The last of the prints should be coming back here about Friday. So that's coming along really well. But I haven't been keeping the Kickstarter people themselves updated, even though the work has been done. We haven't let the people know about this. So I've had a couple of emails the past week. Dave, are you going to be, is this going to be a failed Kickstarter campaign? I'm like, no. No, we're fine. Just I haven't told you about it. Yeah, a bit too funky. I know it's scratched, but it's not scratched in a nice way. So I should settle down here and be a bit more careful. it's too many dots that are in the same pattern. If you can see a repeatable pattern, you're doing it wrong. That might be better, I think. Yeah, you see the pattern 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not so good. Okay, where's the fourth quadrant? This one. What's it supposed to look like? Quite thick in the middle, thin at the quite thick in the middle, thinner on the outside edge. What have we got so far? Oh, not so bad. Middle's okay. Got to get it thinner on the outside, thinner on the little one inside, thinner on the tips. Excuse me. There we go. This must be Kawaii-san, is it? What time is it? Look at that, it's nearly time. Well, it hasn't been the most interesting stream today, but this is work. It's stuff that has to be done, so. Got a catch in my throat too. Sorry. So schedule on coming up. This is Monday night. So this means that this is the end of my week. Monday night, we close the store tonight. That's the end of our calendar week. I still got a catch. Sorry. Tomorrow, of course, it's a Tuesday here in Tokyo, in Japan. So Tuesday is our closing day. I'll be out in the Ome workshop. It'll be my last chance to see the staff out there this year. Tons of things to talk to them about, take them a little something for the year end. They've been doing a wonderful service. They've been doing the shipping, it's been insane the last couple of months. So they've done a very good job. And then what's going to be happening next? When I'm back here on Wednesday, I'm not quite sure what I'll be doing. I'm not quite sure. It could be one of the test printing jobs. Like I said, those Kickstarter blocks, the Heroes blocks, there's sets finished now. So I might be doing test printing on that stuff with Subu-san upstairs. She and I are going to test print together the first boss fight sprint. I forget the name of it. I know. A trial of strength. So we could be doing that, test printing on that. And if we are, it'll be a bit of a mixed stream because, Good morning, Kawai-san. Hello. よく寝ちゃった。鍋の僕は書いて 倒れてボンそう。
ビールも流しに
ビールプラス鍋ですね。
美味しかったね。すごい。
今日パーティーですね。10時のパーティーあります。見ました夜の間に注文入ったフランスの方です。2人。When he left home this morning, he probably checked the party reservation schedule, and there wasn't anything for this morning. But while he was on the train, a reservation came in. So the first party of the day is happening at 10 o'clock. So. He was expecting a quiet morning, and now bang, he's going to get to it. We're getting actually a flood of reservations now for the very year end, December 31st and 30th. They're now pretty much full already, I think. People are here in Japan for the actual New Year time. And I'm going to be closed. There's none of the staff here, 1, 2, and 3. I'll be here with the door closed, bolted, locked tight for a few days to catch up on a bunch of stuff. And parties and work resumes from the 4th of January. So I got 3 uninterrupted days. There will be no streams, we can tell you now. Excuse me, January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, there won't be streams. It's our holiday here.
Hi, morning.
Doi-san, good morning. Hello. Did you see the email about the Doi print being returned?
Return.
Okay.
はい、わかりました。12月で、I was just in
うん、
December.
まだ届いてないですね。返品予定ですが。
何の図柄でしたっけ？
清水寺の雪の
風景で。
そう。でちょっとおかしい。彼が、I forget what he said. It's not clear.
Not pristine.
Not so, I forget, not so sharp and clear. But this is a gray toned image, so I don't know. Anyway, no argument.
Okay.
He wants his money back, no problem. So. My suspicion is it was buyer's remorse, but whatever, no argument. Just if he doesn't want it.
図柄は
もうすぐ売りますよ。そう、no problem. Yeah, I would like a cup of tea and coffee here, but the coffee machine's at the other end of the building, so. Oh, stream, don't read that. Stream later, Dave. Read later. Don't any specific questions. This brush softening thing, you can maybe give me some hints here. I showed in the last video when I was talking about the Great Wave, the wear and tear on the Great Wave block. I talked for a moment about the brush, how we have to keep them nice and soft. And I showed a 3 or 4 second video clip of Kawai-san. He was rubbing the brush on a piece of shark skin here to keep the brush soft. This has been the traditional way for many, many years. If you do it with sandpaper, it doesn't work. It just sands the hairs shorter. But doing it on the shark skin, it's got the right kind of tooth, and the brushes end up having split ends. Like women complain about their hair, the ends get split, And that shark skin splits the brushes. A few hours after the video goes up, I get a Skype call from my brother. He lives in Germany. He says, like, Dave, take this down. You can't leave this on the internet. And I'm like, what's wrong? Shark skin. He said, you're going to get shut down. If you try to export your prints to Germany and the German customs hears that one of your tools has been dressed in a piece of shark skin, you're going to be dead meat. So be it. So whatever. I know for what it's worth, we source the shark skin at the fish market. These are not sharks that have been sort of scooped out of the ocean, had a fin sliced off and thrown back in the water. These are sharks that are harvested, killed, let's use the word. These are sharks that are killed for food. The meat is sold to sushi shops, and instead of the skin being thrown away, it's sold to people that make glue or whatever, and we scoop one now and then for our own work. Am I being evil? Good question. I don't think so. But there it is. He said it's not something you should expose to the public or talk about. He said if you're going to use that sort of product, keep it real quiet. And I'm not sure. Whatever. You guys live in different countries. You might have a different viewpoint on this. So, yeah. For what it's worth, we ourselves are not killing sharks. We are using the byproduct. Does it matter? I don't know. Suka-san, good morning. On stream. Hi, this is Suga-san heading upstairs for her day's bondage. 今日の予定は
今日なんかチョンさんから連絡があって、今日いた間に合わないって連絡があった。なので水曜日にやることにしたっていう連絡があったので、
はい。じゃあ私もちょうどいいですね。僕も試し撮りの時にも一緒にやりたいと、ビデオも作りたいです。
そっか。
ビデオ作りたい。で今日その関係ない今ヘンリー漫画と
ヘンリーの方今日そっちやります。
今両方出したんです。
ありがとうございます。
だってヘンリー漫画プラス
あとブラシとあとちょっといろいろ
じゃあ2つヘンリー漫画のパックと
そう2つもう一つはその試しの方
そうか
あと浮世絵のあとだるまもやりますだるまの準備も
その時間ありますか
多分
OK ありがとうございますWell, I think we're pretty much done here. I've done the test. Let me just proof this last corner, then get the mic scope out of the way. Where am I? Where is it? Here we are. Is it going to focus? It's not focusing really well, but you get the idea. We've got a very nice scratch effect, Hontoni very nice scratch effect. I'm very, very happy with this. This finished print is going to be to die for. Well, not really. Okay, it's been a bit scrappy stream, guys. I know this was work I had to do. I'm sorry. I know it wasn't exactly dramatic work, but it's work that needed to be done. And actually, I think for those of you who might be trying printmaking, it's a little bit educational too. Where's the print? Here we are. There's a test proof of our print coming up. And there we have it. Today's Monday. I'm off now, Tuesday. I'm not off work, but I'm off the stream. I'll be back here Wednesday morning. I'm not sure what I'll be doing. As you heard me talking to Suga-san just now, Wednesday, she and I are going to be working on the test proofing of the first of the new boss fights. And she gets here about 9:30. So she won't be here at 8 o'clock to do this on a live stream. But what work I'll be doing before she gets here, I'm really not sure. I'll try and think of something. See you then. Thanks again. Catch you next time. Step 1, camera off. Look at that. That print looks so nice. Doi-san, look at this. 来年のシリーズの試し刷りですが、これ見てください。綺麗でしょ。そう。
そう、ナイス。
そう。今、かすりありますが、石川さんがちょっと力入れすぎですが、
その、ブルーのところ。
軽くすると、
こういう感じ。
こうになりましょう。
あれね、なんだっけ。
かすり、サビ
ボリ。そう。
オッケー。サビボリ。 Yeah, it looks so good. This is going to be a dynamite series, and they're so cheap, $25.
あ、OK。そうかダイナマイトシリーズっていうのね。はい、OK、OK。うん。